Facebook. How's it going? Look, there's my mic. I almost forgot to plug it in. How's it going? Super awesome to see y'all. I hope you're having a lovely Monday. I am having a wonderful Monday. I had to cancel my F Shit Up Friday on Friday because I was driving home from my amazing hike. I had one of the best hikes that I have ever had in all the evers. And I was driving home and I got hit by a car as I was driving. And so I didn't get to do my F Shit Up Friday. And anyway, it really sucked. So I'm feeling okay. Just so you know, I can move. I have a little bit of whiplash, but I'm feeling really good and I'm taking really good care of myself and I'm being taken care of really well. So that's really awesome. And if you are online watching me right now, I would super love it if you would say hello to me in the comments because I can't see you. There's some weird thing going on with my Facebook Lives lately where I can't see you. If you don't tell me you're there, I don't even know what's happening. I'm going to try and fix it. But, you know, I don't understand the Facebooks very well. So if you're there, like write a comment and say hello and let me know you're there. Give me a little shout out. So anyway, I had a car accident last week, so I couldn't go live. So that really was a bummer. And I'm really excited to be here to talk about a couple of things. So I have been trying to figure out just what to raise some hell about because I've been getting so inundated with news that I have not been able to pick. So we had the school shooting, which raised all of my gun reform issues. And hey, Marcy, how are you? It's nice to see you. So we had like the gun thing, and then we've had the Russia thing, and then we've had all of the Trump things that happen all of the time. And so we've had all these things happening, and I've been trying to figure out sort of what to focus on. And as usual, women's health and women's lives and women's bodies sort of rose to the surface. And so there's a few things that I want to bring to your attention. And then I'm going to, so there's a few things that I want. Lily! Hey, Lil! How's it going? So there's a couple of things I want to bring to your attention. One of them is this really lovely article in Politico called Trump's Abortion Policy Sheds Light on Ad Hoc Decision Making. So this is about the guy, Scott Lloyd, who runs the Office of Refugee Resettlement, who is very anti-contraception, very anti-abortion, very anti-woman. And he has been forcing women who are being held in for immigration purposes to stay pregnant, even if the pregnancy is a result of rape. And we're up to 4. Like, I thought it was appalling when we were talking about one woman, but we're up to 4 women that have tried to get abortions and legally can't obtain them. And he's refusing to allow them the treatment and forcing them to stay pregnant. And I just really find that just obscenely, disturbingly horrifying on so many levels. And I just really think that we kind of need to like be really seriously talking about this because there is no there's no policy in place that says that he can't do this. And like they're literally halting abortion among undocumented minors, even though the minors are getting permission to get abortion services because they're like rape victims. Like, this is no joke. So anyway, if any of you are really interested in that issue, I'll put a link in the comments about it. But I just really find it horrifying and appalling that we're forcing these women to stay pregnant against their will. It's sort of gross. And speaking of gross, so This week in Mississippi, sorry, I keep going to the wrong side because I keep forgetting where I am. In Mississippi, a woman was criminally charged for her pregnancy after a home birth. So this woman, Mrs. Fisher, and of course, we've been talking a lot in the news about women of color and their pregnancy outcomes and how just abysmal they can be, especially because doctors won't even treat them. And so in Mississippi, a woman who decided to have a home birth, her baby died, and she tried to get help, and they charged her with a crime for losing her baby and like for her baby dying in the home birth. And this is a very common practice, especially in states like Mississippi. And it's just really sort of disturbing and horrifying that we are charging women, and especially women of color, like women are much more likely to be charged in a miscarriage or a home birth death. They're more likely to be charged with like manslaughter and murder in states. And so there's another thing that we should really be paying attention to, because that's really horrifying. And I'm going to go back and say, if y'all are online, say hi to me or something, or something, because I can't see you. For some weird reason, my settings are all wonky. So if you're there, out there in the world, say hi. I know Marcy and Lily are here, so that makes me happy. Anyway, so women are being charged for miscarriage and having at-home births, which just is disturbing. And so, yeah, and so here's another headline. Pence sees end to legal abortion as Google searches for self-induced abortion climb. So one of the things that's happening in America in 2018, and in Trump's America, and really Pence's America, let's be real. So we've had this huge increase in policies that directly affect abortion and access to birth control. And we've seen this increase in especially women of color dying in childbirth, or dying as a result of childbirth, or having childbirth related complications, or being charged with manslaughter and murder for miscarrying. And now, so online searches for methods of do-it-yourself abortion are increasing because of all of the anti-abortion laws that are passing throughout the United States on a local statewide level. And our Vice President of the United States of America is super pumped about that. He is like, go, 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 America. Let's just keep whittling away at abortion so that we can have women. We could go back to pre-Roe and we could have women dying, and that'll be super awesome, because that's really what we want. And so there is this really great article on Rewire. I'm going to link to all these articles in the comments, but there's this really great article in Rewire about women who are that's Google searching for self-induced abortion is becoming more and more prominent on Google. And then we have this nice one here. Wyoming GOP pushes death certificates for miscarriage. Okay, so in Wyoming, they are pushing a piece of legislation that would make it so that if you have a miscarriage, you are required to get a death certificate in the case of a miscarriage. Now, as if miscarrying was not already traumatizing enough for women, and as if miscarrying was already not one of the most heart-wrenching, horrible experiences for a woman to go through, but now we have to make her feel incredibly guilty for even having that miscarriage, as if it's their fault, and force them to go and get death certificates for their miscarriage. And this is just a horrible, horrible attempt to give fetal rights to fetuses, to give personhood to fetuses, to establish, like they did in the tax bill, that a fetus is a person. In the tax bill, they said you could save money for your fetus for their college fund. So at least they tried to. I don't think that provision got through. But in Wyoming, they're going to do death certificates. And death certificates for miscarriage is actually becoming one of those anti-choice model pieces of legislation where you just destroy women who have had miscarriages as if it's their fault, and as if a miscarriage is their fault, which it isn't. Miscarriages happen for a million reasons, and it's not our fault. So Ugh, Wyoming, gross. So if any of you live in Wyoming, like seriously, or Mississippi for that matter, come on. And then we have the Iowa, God bless Iowa. I mean, y'all, seriously. So Iowa State Senate passed an unconstitutional total abortion ban. This is not just your 15-week ban, people. This is a 6-week abortion ban that says that the minute you hear the fetal heartbeat, abortion is no longer allowed. So the federal courts have blocked these bans in Arkansas and North Dakota, and the states appealed to the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court said, nah, we're not going to hear that. And so they didn't go anywhere. And now Iowa is passing an unconstitutional total abortion ban. So now they're called the heartbeat bans. So they're these obscure, ridiculous bans that basically say that in those states, the minute you hear a fetal heartbeat on an ultrasound, you can no longer have an abortion, and that's usually around the 6th week. And women don't even know they're pregnant during that time period usually, because it takes us a month to miss a period, which is like 4 weeks. And then it takes us forever to get a doctor's appointment, because let's just talk about whether or not you have access to a safe provider who actually is covered by your insurance. And so these stupid heartbeat bans that are completely unconstitutional and a waste of taxpayer dollars are just a direct attack on women. Like, we don't know we're pregnant until we're well into 6 or 7 weeks, and by that time it's too late to get an abortion. This is horrifying. Like, Roe versus Wade is there for a reason, and we may not like the reason, but Roe versus Wade was decided by a majority court that was brought on by Republican presidents. So this is not some rogue Democrat liberal conspiracy to to destroy the fetus and to destroy families and to destroy all these things. This is an attack on your ability to have a safe, legal abortion when you want one and you need one because of a million different reasons. And to attack women for having miscarriages is just, no. You just don't get to attack women for having miscarriages. It's not our fault. It's the fault of a million different things, but it's not our fault. It's really, really horrifying that they're doing this. And they're sitting there smiling with their smug man faces, because you don't see any women pushing these pieces of legislation. They're not sitting there with their smug lady faces. No, you got all these men out there going, we're going to get those ladies today. Let's go and see what we can do legislatively to get those women. And it's ridiculous and it's crap and it makes me mad. And we were talking about anger in church yesterday, so this is my righteous fury coming out. This is just bullshit, people. Just bullshit. But the biggest cream of the crop here, people, the thing that has me lit up today on Monday, the thing that has me going, are you flipping kidding me today? Listen, Kentucky, let's just have a little speaky poo about the fact that a bill that would outlaw child marriage stalled. Okay, this bill in Kentucky was to help make it illegal for 13-year-old girls to get married to adult men. Because in Kentucky, you can marry a 13-year-old girl to an adult man. So let's just talk about this for a minute, because it stalled amid conservative concerns. And do you know what the justification is here, people? It's less traumatizing for a 13-year-old to be raped by her husband than a stranger. I'm just going to let that set in for a minute. The conservative concerns are that it's okay for your husband to rape a 13-year-old girl, but not a stranger or somebody that she might be dating. So the person who is supporting this bill, who's running this bill, is totally appalled that the vote on the bill has been stalled. And the vote on the bill has been stalled because conservatives want to protect parents' rights in this process. Okay, I don't understand how a parent has the right to marry off their 13-year-old daughter to an older man. That isn't okay. That's child abuse. It's not right. And so this child bride legislation would bar marriage for anyone under the age of 17 and require judicial approval for a 17-year-old to wed. Under current law, 16 and 17-year-olds can marry with parental permission, and children can marry younger when there's a pregnancy involved. There should not be a pregnancy involved in a 13-year-old girl with an older man. No. No. When did it become okay for conservatives to support child abuse like they did with Roy Moore, like they're doing in Kentucky? They've stopped a bill because they want parents' rights in the bill. Parents' rights to do what? Legitimize your child getting raped by an adult? What is happening here? This is just crazy talk, people. It is crazy talk. I can't even with this. I cannot believe that they think it's okay for children to be married. And it stopped? It stalled? Who stalls that? Ridiculous. I'm telling y'all, this is horrifying. This is horrifying. So I have to say this. We live in the land of the free and the home of the brave, unless we are women, unless we are black, unless we are brown, unless we are native, unless we are poor, unless we are a million other things, unless we are LGBTQ, and let's just talk about that for just a second, unless we are a transgender woman of color who's not likely to see it past her 36th birthday, unless we've been imprisoned, unless we have had a child out of wedlock, unless we've had a miscarriage, unless we are not legitimately heterosexually married, which apparently is okay for 13-year-old little girls now, we are free until we're not. Unless we are a white cisgendered man who's living the heterosexual, streamlined 1950s perfect family household, we're not free. And this is the time to rise up in mayhem. And this is the time to engage in revolution. And this is the time to let elected officials in Wyoming and Mississippi and Kentucky and Iowa know that we will not stand. We will not stand idly by and let them strip us of our rights to autonomy over our own bodies. This is bullshit. And this is just part of a gigantic wave of legislation that is just taking over this country. And we cannot sit silent. And we must not sit silent. We must speak out. Speaking of speaking out, I really want to thank my Patreon supporters who are helping me do this work and helping me engage in writing and helping me engage in revolution. And I just want to thank Leisha Schweitzer, Kristen Pecco, Susan Hyatt, Melanie Childers, Christina Larson, and Marcy Harris. You guys are the greatest supporters ever. And I am really working on putting through some really exclusive badass content on my Patreon page. And I'm really, really excited that you're supporting me over there. And I hope that if you want to continue to support me doing this work, you'll head on over to my Patreon page where I've got surprise videos and I've got surprise writing and I've got some essays I've been writing about the resistance and I've got some really cool revolutionary shit over there. And that's at patreon.com/birdgirl1001. And if you go over there and you become one of my Patreon supporters, I've got lots of special things for you. So thank you very much, Lisa and Kristen and Susan and Melanie and Christina and Marcy. And I hope that y'all will go over there and check out my Patreon page because there's like all sorts of exclusive content going on over there. And it's really, really fun to be a part of that group of really badass creative people. And I really thank you for being here with me on my Facebook Live. And I think you're super magical and amazing. And I'm really glad that the guy who hit me in my car didn't hurt me harder. And I'm really, really hoping that I'm going to post these links in the comments. And I'm hoping y'all will take some action and spread the word to your people that you might know in Mississippi and Kentucky and Iowa and Wyoming. And just let people know that we're not going to stand for this bullshit. It's got to go because it's just bad. So anyway, I think you're awesome. Have a super good week. We'll see you on Friday.